Welcome to Simple Living with Biata. For the last year and a bit, I've been developing our land to build our dream home and homestead from scratch. And this week, I'm doing things a little bit differently. This is Christmas week, and I wanted to do something special for you guys to show you kind of what we've accomplished in this last year. And of course, everything is deeply snow covered right now. So I'm going to be showing you some clips from in the past and just all of the really cool steps along this journey. So the first thing we did when we got here was myself and my stepdad, Craig, which if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've seen Craig many times, but he helped me build this driveway. He was the one who cut all the trees for the driveway. I actually don't have a YouTube video of us building our driveway because I didn't start the YouTube channel until about 3 months after that. So we built a driveway on 18.5 acres. Our property is a bit of a triangle, so we could have gone even deeper into the bush, or we could have made an even shorter driveway, but we wanted something kind of in between, something that was going to be secluded from the road that we're on, but something that wasn't too far away that was going to cost us an arm and a leg to install both electricity and the driveway. During the week that Craig built this driveway with me, he taught me how to use a chainsaw, and this is something that I never ever wanted to do. It's something I've always been absolutely terrified of. My biological father actually passed away in a tree cutting accident, and I know even professionals pass away from tree cutting accidents. Anything can happen. It's absolutely terrifying. And sometimes I'm upset with myself that I've done some of the trees that I have done, but I started off small. I started off with trees this size, and I was like, that is it. That is the only thing I'm going to be doing. I'll clear some trails here and there, but that is all I'll do. And I broke my rule. Originally, I had a bunch of people come and take a look at our property, see if they would do some lot clearing, see what it was going to cost. And someone was actually going to do it for free and take all of the lumber. And I was totally happy with this, but partway through the winter, he sent me a message and he said, look, I'm so sorry. I'm too busy this winter to take on this project. And I was like, well, shoot, that sucks. But at this point, I had started clearing, trees this small, all in the area that I wanted to clear to get stuff out of the way for him. And I started working my way up to even 6-inch wide trees and stuff that I could push if I needed to. And I just kept working my way up and researching and learning more and more along the tree cutting journey. And a lot of you asked, where did you learn how to cut trees? Yes, Craig taught me some of the ins and outs of cutting trees, but a lot of my research was actually done on YouTube. Taking a look at the do's and don'ts and the top mistakes you can make when using a chainsaw. And I would always look through the comments and see, are there arborists agreeing with this person on YouTube? Are any other arborists making comments disagreeing with this person on YouTube? I always did my due diligence because you never want to take information on the internet and just take it as truth. So I cleared the trees in the wetlands over the winter, and I slowly just moseyed my way around the property. I cut a 1,200-foot long trail for our power line to go through. I cut the area for our parking lot. I cut everywhere that you can see for basically our view and where our house is going to go and where our septic field is going to go. And I'm pretty happy with the amount of trees that I've cut. I really don't think I'm going to need to cut many more. I will be clearing a little bit more in the wetlands this winter and maybe a few other trails, but I really do want the coverage, and I want there to be at least 9 or 10 acres of untouched forest on our property. So most of the tree clearing actually brought me into the summer because I was still doing things like the trail for our power line. And that was our next project, was getting electricity to our property. I decided to do most of the work when it came to getting electricity to the middle of our property, and it's 1,200 feet away from where the existing pole is. And the reason we went with electricity from a power company versus going with solar is because our area, as you can see, gets so much snow. And if you look at the sky right now, it is gloomy. There is no sun. So most of the people in our area in the winter, if they're off-grid or on solar, have to have a generator to be able to power their home. And I really don't find that to be very efficient. It's a beautiful thing to be off-grid and to not be grid tied and to be able to be as self-sufficient as you can be. But with this decision, we were thinking long term. We don't know what the future holds, and the best thing for resale for our property is going with a power company. So that brought us to trenching a 1,200-foot trench with an excavator. Craig was the one who trenched it with the excavator. It took him 2 full days. We should have just had maybe a bit of a bigger machine. And we pulled all of this line out using the machine. It was super heavy, and Big O needed to go over top of this power cable. It was a primary power cable that was not armored. So secondary lines can be armored, but this primary cable did not come armored. So we had to pull Big O over all of it, and it took us so much time, so much work and effort. And I didn't know if any of it was going to actually work. I didn't know if we messed something up. I was so concerned. But we got our transformer and I learned how to wire our panel. I did pay an electrician to help me with most of the wiring, but I was able to wire 3 of my own plugs for the very first time. And that was really cool. That was one of my favorite things to learn, was to be able to just wire something, to know how it works. I did not know how it worked before. So that was pretty incredible. And the week that we did the trenching, I was able to continue to learn how to use the excavator and backfill most of the trench myself. And it was a lot of work. Like excavating, again, that's another favorite thing. Like I've loved that I've learned how to use a chainsaw. Doing some wiring and using an excavator is probably my top favorite, because it's really, really incredible. It's also very dangerous, which is something that I had to kind of learn along the way when a giant root flew out. And I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. This giant root flew out and landed on top of the glass. And it just makes you appreciate what tradespeople go through on a daily basis and the dangers they put themselves in. For me, I'm taking my time. I don't have pressure from a boss. For a lot of these tradespeople, there's pressure to do it quickly, and that's where mistakes can be made and where dangerous situations can happen. So kudos to all you tradespeople watching, and thank you for all of the tips and tricks that you leave in the comments. It's very helpful. And thanks for the encouragement as well. When I broke the glass on the excavator, so many of you commented and just made me feel like I wasn't alone in these mishaps. But anyways, back to kind of the tour of this land. So shortly after we trenched everything for our power, we finally applied for our permit to build the house. This is something that just took me so much longer to figure out. And I was hoping all along to be able to start the build in August, to be able to pour the concrete maybe in October, and to have the concrete in and framing this winter. And guess what? None of that happened. It's such a disappointment. And I'm honestly, I'm sorry. I wish I had framing content for you guys this winter, but it is going to be a bit of a different winter for me. There's going to be lots of wood for me to cut and split and other things to do to prepare for the build and such, but we didn't get the concrete in because we actually didn't get the house build permit until late November. And we ended up starting the build anyways. We got permission because I was like, look, everything's in order. Why haven't you issued the permit? So when you're doing a build like this, you don't know how long things are going to take. But luckily, when you are doing it yourself, like, unless you are in this incredibly rushed timeline, like, you can pace yourself and enjoy it. So we started working on the foundation. Myself and Craig started working on the foundation in September. And within that first week of working on the foundation, things did not go to plan. The excavator broke down. I did not get the foundation backfilled, and it was just kind of an overall disappointment. I was pretty upset with it. But the next few weeks, I spent time learning how to do plumbing for the first time, which I can say, wow, there is a lot to know about plumbing, way more than I thought there would be, about the codes. I asked my architect if he knew anyone who could help me with a plumbing layout, and he was like, you probably shouldn't do the plumbing yourself. It's a lot of work to learn the codes. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should hire this out. I really went back and forth for weeks maybe I should just hire this out. But I ended up learning how to do it. I, again, went to YouTube, learned the do's and don'ts, learned the top mistakes you can make in plumbing, and I worked with a few different plumbers, one being my friend Kurt. Thank you, Kurt. And things changed along the way, but I eventually figured it out. And then we moved on to backfilling the foundation with a larger machine, and this was incredible. It went by so quickly. It was so much fun to kind of see everything come together, to see the pipes buried, and to kind of envision where the bathroom was going to be, where the kitchen's going to be, and to be able to see it laid out. And to use that packer, you guys probably remember me using that packer and getting everything as flattened and squished as possible. And honestly, at the end of the day, with the concrete, I'm kind of glad that we didn't get it done. It'll be nice to see how everything kind of settles in the spring after lots of snow. And we weren't sure with all of the concrete shortages when we were going to be able to get concrete. Only the top concrete contractors were actually getting concrete, which means that I would need to fully hire out a team, which I'm happy to do for the concrete because I don't want my floors to be wavy, but I want to be able to work with the team and be able to be involved in the process. I have to do all of the forming still and all of the in-floor heating tubing and the vapor barrier and the mesh and the rebar. There's so much more work that needs to be done. So I'm glad I'm able to just spend the winter to research and learn so much more about what needs to be done before the concrete gets poured. And then next will come the framing, and I'm so excited about the framing. And recently you guys have been watching me build a shed and frame for the first time, and I'm so glad for this experience. Doing this shed build was really cool. It really helped solidify all the research that I've done on framing this last year. I've been watching YouTube channels on building your home from start to finish for the last year, and being able to see how to actually frame, how to actually do it yourself, how to put up the walls makes me feel so much more confident when we go to frame in the spring. And originally I was like, oh, maybe I should just hire this out. But after doing the shed, I feel so much more confident in my ability to frame the house. It's a small house. It's only one floor. It's not a crazy huge undertaking. There's two very custom walls that I need to figure out, but luckily I do have a close couple of friends who are framers that can help me along the way. Basically, what I'm hoping to do is be able to have a framing party, frame probably 6 walls that I can frame before everyone comes, and then stand them and work together. Hopefully that will go pretty quickly, and I'm still not sure what I want to do with the trusses. We do have to stick frame the cathedral ceiling that's going in the middle of the house, and then we have trusses coming for the outer 2 sides of the house. So I would like to have somebody there, at least hire a friend and put the trusses up with them, because I really don't know what I'm doing with that. And I'm not a huge fan of heights, which I learned when I was building the shed. So that's the overall plan of the house. And then hopefully in the summer, we're going to be doing, some of the finishing work. And then the other thing, I totally skipped over this, is we did get our septic bed in. This is something that Craig, my stepdad, did for years. And so I was really happy to be able to have him help me with the septic bed. So really at the end of the day, I know I'm sharing all the things that I have done, and maybe this is just a recap for you and you're like, yeah, we get it. But this build is so much more to me than just, building a shed, than building a home, than all of these little bits and pieces that have brought us here to where we're at. It's so nuts how it's evolved. I just wanted to live differently. I wanted to be able to have chickens. This is kind of what started this whole thing. I was happily living in a small town on a 1/10 of an acre, gardening like crazy. I was gardening on 3 different neighbors' backyards. I was providing a ton of food for us in the summer. But I wanted more than that. I wanted to be able to can a ton more stuff to be able to bring us into the winter. I wanted to be able to have fruit trees. I wanted to be able to have chickens, and I had no space for chickens. So we sold our home for that dream, for the dream of me being able to homestead full time. The dream is slowly coming true, slowly but surely. I had no clue I was going to be building, all of this on my own. Originally, I was like, we can live in a yurt, we can build a shipping container home, we can live in a Quonset hut. There was so many different ideas. And at the end of the day, I was like, I'm just going to learn how to frame because that is the most cost efficient way to live in a home in our area. And now I did get a question about what are the mosquitoes like in your area? And I have a feeling this question is because of the wetlands. It's actually a huge misconception that healthy wetlands, bring in more mosquitoes. The thing with wetlands is as long as they're healthy and flowing, you should have less mosquitoes in your area because you're going to have more predators for those mosquitoes. So you're going to have more frogs, more turtles, more dragonflies killing the mosquitoes. Whereas if you go to the far end of our property, way far away from our wetlands, you will get swarmed by mosquitoes and black flies in the middle of the forest. And something that I'm really excited that this is going to be like way down in the future, but I'm so excited to be able to utilize the wetlands to be able to grow our own crops. I'm honestly just so excited to get to the point where we're in the house happily living and I can get my dream homestead going. We need a house to live in next winter. My family does not want to live in a trailer for a third winter. So next year it's going to be go, go, go. And I am concerned because it's going to be a lot of work and I'm going to be editing. And right now I take 1 to 2 days a week to edit. And next year I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in, but it's going to get done. I got a lot of questions about my family, my husband. Where's my husband? And a lot of you have already met my husband in the last few months of him coming in for a week or a couple of days here and there. And he's very much involved in my life. It is a funny question to me because I'm like, if it was just a guy doing this build, they wouldn't be getting the question, where's your wife? Where's your wife? And I don't know, I just grew up believing that I could do anything I put my mind to. And it was never about gender. It was always just, if you want to do that, believe you can do it and go do it. My husband right now, he's installing kitchens and he's bringing in a full-time income for us. And that is what we need while I build this channel. I've always been an entrepreneur and he is supporting me in that. And thank you so much for watching and liking and subscribing and commenting, even just saying hi, like hi from Argentina, hi from Mexico, hi from the United States, wherever you're from. Let me know. I want to hear those things. And it's a huge help because it actually pushes my content to more people out in the algorithm. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was a nice little extra Christmas gift to you guys, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you might celebrate. Happy holidays to you. And let me know if you have any other questions in the comments. And I will see you next week where I'm going to be showing you the rest of the shed. So I will see you then. Bye guys.